Alright, we're just shy of Halloween. Halloween hasn't quite got here yet. So today we're going to do a little video on BB guns and on a BB gun target. And we'll show you how to make one fairly cheap and very effective. Okay, this is going to be a freestanding target. And it's going to be made out of PVC pipe. Simple PVC pipe. Easy to work with. You don't even have to glue this together. In fact, it's best if you don't glue it together, because once again, you can take this thing apart, bundle it up, put a string around it, and you can carry it to the range. It weighs next to nothing. This stuff is very, very light. Now, the pipe you're going to need, okay, is called Schedule 20, which has very, very thin walls. Now, why use the thin walls? You would think, well, that would be really cheap, right? Well, that's the idea. Let's say you shoot this thing and you bust one of these pipes, okay, and you just destroy it. All the pipes are cut to the same length, 18 inches, okay? And as such, any pipe can be replaced with any pipe. So you've always got spares that way. Schedule 20 is very inexpensive. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's 3/4 inch diameter pipe, and you'll need some fittings. Now, the fittings are really simple. They're just PVC fittings. And the way they go onto the pipe is you're just going to press them into place. And they're fine. They hold together just fine. When you want to take it apart, you twist and pull it apart. Okay, so all of these pieces are going to be 18 inches long. Okay, that way it's not an excessively large target. If you want a larger one, you can make them 24 inches long if you want. Okay, but it's kind of big that way, kind of a little bit cumbersome. So we're going to mark our pipe every 18 inches. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, but about 18 inches long, as close as you can get it. There's going to be a little bit of wiggle room with these fittings when you put it together, so you don't have to be crazy with it. Alright, now we're showing you how to do this with hand tools, because you don't really need any kind of power tools to make this target. It's very easy to do. The other target, you're going to kind of need some power tools. You can do it with a handsaw, but it's a pain in the backside on that other type of target. So with this one, it's real easy. Okay, once you get the saw started, that's your first length of pipe. Now I've marked this every 18 inches. Alright, so with a little bit of end that we had left over on the first PVC pipe that we cut off, we had to make a couple of little small pieces. What they're going to end up being is feet that go onto the bottom of these legs for the target stand. And this is how it works. You're going to cut a piece over about 1 inch long, okay, and it's going to slip up inside of a pipe cap, okay, and then we take a 90 and we push it on till it's all the way up. Now these go on the end of this pipe just like this and become feet. Now here's one of the cool things, okay? This is nice and wide, so it's very stable in the wind. It's hard to blow it over, okay? So it's pretty rugged. If you really find it's really windy and the wind is taking it, you can take this apart right here at this joint, and you can fill that whole leg up with water, and it makes it heavy, and it'll set on the ground really well. So it's kind of versatile. You can do some really neat stuff with this thing. So we're going to finish the other 2 feet, and then our basic stand is put together. From there, we'll get some of this PVC pipe and we'll split it to make our clamps out of. Okay, so we're going to make some clamps out of this pipe. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to split this pipe lengthwise, okay, and we're only going to take maybe 1/3 of it out. So we want it so it'll wrap around the pipe more than halfway, okay? And I'm going to show you that after I cut one of these out. Now I want to caution you, be careful when you're doing this part of the operation. I have a scar right here on my finger. When I was a young man, I literally almost cut my finger off with a hacksaw. These things will cut you, so you want to be very careful when you're doing this part of this operation. The idea is not to cut all the way through the pipe, it's just to cut one side. You go slow, you go easy, you take your time. This is not a part of the operation to hurry on. Now it'll go through in just a minute. Now once you've got it cut through, remember, when you're cutting this thing, let the saw do the work, okay? Don't bear down on it. Just let the blade cut. It will do it. Trust me, it'll just work its way right through and you won't have any trouble with it. So you want to do it nice and slow and easy. Another way you can do this is you can take this in if you have a vise and you can clamp it in the vise, between the jaws of the vise this way, okay? And then cut it that way, okay? You can do it that way if you want. Now I'm doing this by hand. I'm trying to show you how to do this if you don't have a vise. If you don't have any of these tools, you can do this just by hand. But you need to be really careful, okay? I mean really careful. Alright, now one of the things that I would recommend is if you've got a good pair of leather gloves, if you can manage to hold on to this and cut it at the same time, it's advisable to use gloves. I tried it a minute ago and I'm not having any luck with my leather gloves. It rolls a little bit and the thing comes right out of my hand. So you want to be, like I said, very careful when you're cutting through this. And as you can see from the cuts I put in it, we're not taking a huge amount out of this pipe. Maybe about a quarter of it, maybe a little less than a quarter. And I'm going to show you how it clamps onto that pipe after I finish making this cut. Okay, so we're going to sand the edges of this off. Alright, so that it's nice and smooth, and that way it'll slide onto what we need it to work with very easily. Okay, so you just take your sandpaper and you just sand these edges and get those little feathers and burrs off of it. Now the way this is going to work is it'll just literally snap right on to your target stand and hold it in place. Okay, so it's a little bit hard to get off sometimes, but you want it to be pretty tight. Now you can use an old cereal box for this. This one is just a little bit too small. It needs to go clear across. So one of the good things about this stand is if you want to make it only 12 inches across, you can. You can make this any size you want. And the way this is going to hook on, like I showed you before, we're just going to take one edge of it, okay? We're going to hook it around the cardboard, snap it on, and it's very secure. It's not going anywhere. So once you've got this in place, now you can put your paper target on top of here and shoot through your target. Okay, we're going to try to show you some of the versatility of this target stand, okay? As I said, it's just a stand. Now, I'm not going to cut my string off because I don't want to. But what you can do is you can take a piece of string and you can tie it around this stand if you like, and you can mount hanging targets. Okay, tie it around the top of your bottle like this, or if you have a tin can, something else you want to shoot like that, okay, and you can adjust this to whatever height you need, of course, and you can hang a target from your target stand. That's one way to use this stand, okay? So that gives you a little bit of like live action. That's kind of cool to shoot at. So the target stand has great versatility to it. Look like an idiot trying to get the string off it. All right, you can use large paper targets. Okay, now remember those clamps we made. Now there is something I wanted to tell you about these clamps. At first, these things are going to be very tight coming off, going on and coming off, and they're going to be a bit of a pain in the neck. Don't cut them any smaller, okay, because they actually loosen up over time. They stretch out, okay? So we can take our target, all right, and we can mount it with our clips, just like this. And we can just go directly with a paper target, just like that, okay? We put the clamps on the bottom and hold it in place. We can also use cardboard backing, which I'm going to show you now. Something like this, okay? And it's the same principle. You just clamp it into place with your clips, which are a little tighter because the cardboard's thicker, but they will go on and they will hold it. And they actually hold pretty darn tight. You'd be surprised how well they hold. Alright, so now this is just an old cardboard box that I got when I was shopping just a minute ago at Home Depot. Alright, so we can lock these in. Can't see where I'm going, but there you go. Alright, once that's locked in, we can just take a regular paper target and some masking tape, and we can mount that paper target right to our backing board. Now there's one other thing that you can do with this, okay? If you make a few extra clamps for this, what you can do is you can take a towel. Don't clamp it on the bottom, clamp it only on the top and drape it over the back, and what will happen is it will absorb the energy as the pellet comes through. If you do it with a rifle, you're probably just going to put holes in your towel. But if you use an old towel, something like that, and just hang it down behind it, it'll catch BBs. If you have a low velocity BB gun, it'll catch the BBs. Put a tray or a box underneath it and you can recover your ammo. Okay, so we're going to tie actually a hangman's noose, because it's actually a pretty good knot for suspending bottles. This regular slip knot here, eventually that's going to happen. So if you hit it several times, it isn't going to hold. So I'm going to show you how to make a knot that'll hold it. All right. You make a loop, okay, and then you take that loop back the other direction, like that. So you actually have like 2 loops. Now you're going to take this string and you're going to wrap it around itself, okay, and you're going to keep wrapping it. Overlap, overlap, overlap. Keep doing that right up against each other. And we're going to keep doing that until you've got just a little bit of the end sticking out. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with it. Okay, keep going. A little more. Hard to see this with my big fingers in the way. I apologize for that, but there's not much I can do about it. Now, once we get it to this point where we've got just that little bit of tail sticking out, we're going to slip it through that loop that's on that end. And then one of these is going to pull that tight. I'm not sure which one. You kind of got to feel it around to find out. All right, there it goes. It's starting to tighten up right now. Okay, and once that pulls down onto there, okay, it's going to hold that knot together like that. Now when you want it to tighten up or loosen, you grab a hold of the whole knot and pull whichever end will move. You'll find one end will move and the other one won't. So what you do from here is, now these bottles we filled with water, so they're going to be a lot heavier. All right, we're going to wrap that noose around here and we're going to tighten it up. And now this one isn't going to come off the bottle. That's going to hold. It's not going to untie. So from here, we can hang this, again, off the bottom of our target stand, just like we were doing with the other one, which we're going to do. We can also hang it from the top bar. Whatever bar we want to hang it off of, top or bottom, we can. Okay, so you can do anything you want with those hanging bottles. Now what I wanted to show you is that when I put this cardboard on, it's not real tight. It's kind of loose and got a belly in the middle of it. So if we want to fix that, we can just take the whole thing, twist these clamps like that, and look at how that tightened it right up. And it's still attached and it's solid. So now we've got a nice solid backboard that we can shoot through. Okay, I wanted to show you this because I think it's very important. This rifle is not suitable for shooting in your backyard. And I want to explain why. If you look right up here on the barrel, you can see this rifle is 1,000 feet per second. That's actually faster than a .22 long rifle. This thing is a serious rifle. It needs to be treated as a serious rifle. Next gun I want to show you is another rifle. Now this one, you can pump this many times. It's a pneumatic, it's a pump action. And the more times you pump it, the harder it shoots. Well, conversely, if you only pump it once, it's not going to be anywhere near the velocity of that monster I just showed you. So this one, on one pump, is probably safe to use in your backyard. This is a marksman pistol. They still sell these things, okay? And this is what they call a spring piston type, all right? You push this little button down, it releases this slide. You pull the slide back, it'll latch. Then you push it forward, and it latches again. and it's loaded, ready to go. So this thing is maybe 200, 285 feet per second. Now the reason why this velocity is important is once a pellet gets above about, I'd say 400, 450 feet per second, it is entirely possible to be lethal with it. It can be very, very dangerous. This is comparatively safe to shoot. Still, you need to use caution with all of these. Use your gun safety rules. Don't point them at people's eyes. Use eye protection, okay? Make sure you do that because these things can be very dangerous. Next gun. This is a CO2 powered pellet gun. This one is 450 to 500 feet per second. That's pretty darn serious. Okay, now that's on a full charge. Now I want to explain what about a full charge. Okay, CO2 liquefies at about 87.5 pounds pressure per square inch. So that means you have, until it stops being liquid in that tube, it will continue at that pressure. Okay, it's going to keep going that hard. All right. This is also a single pump air pistol. Okay, pumps one time. This one is 750 feet per second. So this is another one you got to be extremely careful with this. It is pinpoint accurate, but I kind of hesitate to shoot it in my backyard because it is so powerful. We have one left. This is another cheap single pump air rifle. You pump it one time, you shoot it, and you should be all right with this guy in your backyard. It's not a great gun, but it shoots. It's something good to learn with. Okay, so you can teach your kids how to shoot one of these things. When you go and you buy one of these pellet rifles, be careful. Don't buy something that's 1,000, 1,200 feet per second and just tell your kid, go out in the yard and have fun, because these things can be seriously dangerous. They're not a joke. All right, now there's a lot of thickness here, so it's hard to get this clipped on. But what I'm showing you about this clip is that they do work. They get the job done. So there we are. Now we've got this towel back here, and the pellets, when they pass through, they'll hit the towel, and the towel will absorb the energy from the hit. We've got our paper target up here with our towel to back it to catch it, and now we're going to get a box and we're going to put it underneath it so that it'll catch any BBs that go through the target. Alright, just so you know, we're very careful about everything we do, even when we're doing something that's low power like this. So we are making sure that our cameraman is not beyond the muzzle of the gun. We are going to practice a safe line here. We're not going to take chances, okay? So one of the other things I wanted to tell you about is eye protection. These are plastic lenses. If a pellet hits these lenses, it won't break them, so you don't get glass in your eyes. If you don't have safety glasses, believe me, they're very cheap. Between $3 and $5 you can get a set of safety glasses and have them and protect yourself from blowing your eyes out. So invest, take the time, get the eye protection. It's worth the trouble, okay? So I have my little lead pellets here. I look for BBs and I don't have any. But what I do have, let me put it here on something white so you can see it. If I can get it in the right place. Well, hang on. Okay, so these are little conical lead pellets. And this is what we're going to be shooting at the target. So this rifle will shoot BBs, but it will also shoot pellets. Now, I'm going to go ahead and discharge it once. Okay, there's nothing in it, so I'm going to cock it. And I'm going to make sure that there's no pressure on the cylinder. So I'm starting from fresh, all right? Now, I'm going to pump it only one time. I'm going to cock it. I'm going to drop the pellet into the chamber here. Okay, I say that and I got it in backwards. All right. Then I'm going to close the bolt, okay? And now I'm going to point it at the target and I'm going to fire it. Alright, so we're going to go forward and take a look at the box, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to open the chamber so there's no way for that gun to go off. Now we're going to proceed on a safe line up here and look at the target. Well, as you can see, I hit what I was aiming at right here, okay? And the pellet did hit the towel, and it's right here in the bottom of the catch box, right there. So we still have the pellet. This thing looks like it's in good enough shape I might even actually be able to shoot it again. I'm going to try it and see. And we got another one in the box. So they are falling into the box like we want them to. Okay, so it shoots fine. We've shot all three of these guns. They all three hit the target, and the pellet passed through the target, hit the towel, and dropped into the bottom just like we wanted it to. Okay, so we're going to try now shooting that little bottle. Now this gun seems to actually shoot the most accurate. It's a pretty good little rifle, this little Crossman. It's a good gun. All right, one pump, because I don't want a lot of power on it. And we'll see if it'll go through that bottle. All right, we just shot the bottle with one pump in it and did not actually go through the plastic bottle. So we're trying it this time with two pumps. We're going to go up slow until we can penetrate the bottle. Well, that one went through. I see water coming out of it. All right, so we're going to stick with two pumps because, again, we want to moderate how much power we have out of this thing. The experimentation that we just did shows us that two pumps is sufficient to penetrate the bottle, but yet it's not so powerful that I got to worry about bouncing it all over the place. So be safe with these things. It's important. Okay, so you're not going to be using this thing every day. I get that. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to break this thing down and take it apart. All right, we're going to pop the clamps off the top. All right, we're going to pop the clamps off the bottom down here. All right. Now, you can keep your cardboard if you want. That's up to you. But to take this thing apart is very simple. Just pull it apart. It comes apart. Now, if you want, you can leave the pieces in place as you take it apart. All right. And the strings that we used to hang our bottle, we can actually now use to tie all this stuff up with. So I'm going to try and show you that in a second. All right, so there's our bottle. We've got a second string here that we can take off. And we've got a convenient way to tie the pieces of parts together. So you just pull them apart, give them a twist and pull, and they come right out. Okay? Twist and pull, they come right out. So this is how fast and easy it is to break this target stand down. That's it. It's disassembled. Now you can take your rag, or I mean your string, take that little hangman's noose that we made earlier, open it way up like that, and put all these pipes through here, and then tighten it back up again, and you've got everything encapsulated in one spot. You don't have to worry about it. It's all easy to take care of this way. All right, so now we're going to tighten up. All right, that's one end of it. Now we take our other string, tie the other end up, and this puppy is ready to store. So it's as simple as that. So this thing is a pretty versatile little piece of equipment that you don't have to have stood up in the corner or taking up space and all that all the time. So there you are. There's your target stand. One thing I forgot to mention is when you're storing your clamps, you just put them onto your piece of pipe and they'll just stay put right there, and now you've got everything in one place. Alright, now my cameraman wants me to point out that you can even clamp it around your cord that you're using to tie it up, and nothing's going to come anywhere that way. You got it solid. So there you are. I'm Bill 1911. We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, Bill 1911 here. Hey listen, if you're watching this video, if you're enjoying it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? That's really important to us. And make sure you like us, and by all means, come to visit us at AskBill1911.com.